Lighting plays a crucial role in setting the mood, atmosphere, and realism of a scene. Small adjustments can make the difference between a cozy, warm ambience and a thrilling, cold, terrifying one. Let's explore the secrets of realistic lighting and what you should focus on when illuminating your scenes. And don't worry, I won't dive too deep into theory because understanding how to set up your Blender scene is more important than complex mathematical calculations for your approval certification. First and foremost, for achieving realism, it's essential to avoid unrealistic lighting, even when working on science fiction elements and scenes. The closer you stay to the physical properties of light, the more realistic your scenes will appear. This might seem obvious, but many starting 3D artists, including me, create pleasing scenes, but overlook the importance of lighting. So, what you should do? Make notes for each project and consider the following points. The first is determine the most powerful light source, basically your main light, and its properties, such as angle, distance, and shape. That means, is it diffuse or hard light? Color and intensity, and then identify additional light sources, if present. Compare the intensities of all lights to avoid overexposure or underexposure. In addition to these considerations, understanding light temperature is crucial for achieving the right color. There's a temperature scale that defines how warm or cold light appears. Roughly 5500 Kelvin is pure white, the classic daylight for example, and lower values suggest reddish, warm light like fire or light bulbs, and higher values indicate bluish, cold light, for example moonlight or skylight. This can be set using a blackbody node in Blender, which is quite straightforward. For those with additional tips and points to consider, please share them in the comments. Now that we have shed light in the basics, let's delve into implementing them into Blender. And like I said, I won't explain that light propagates as an electromagnetic wave interacting with matter at the quantum mechanic level, where it is reflected, absorbed, or transmitted upon striking surfaces with its propagation and refraction described by Maxwell's equations and the wave-particle duality. In Blender, we have various types of light sources. The first one is the point light. It radiates mostly hard light in all directions and is often used for artificial lights like light bulbs or street lamps. Then we have the spotlight. It generates an adjustable light cone and is used for, obviously, spotlights, car headlights, and also street lamps. And one side note, to obtain custom shapes for point and spotlights, you can use IES Profiles. The difference will surprise you. The third one is the area light. And as the name suggests, it's a custom rectangle area that emits soft light in one direction. It's commonly used for background lighting and simulating natural light when HDRI isn't an option. And fourth one, the sunlight, also known as directional light. Whenever you need sun or moonlight in your scene, this is your choice, because it has no natural fall-off, while other lighting sources have a realistic fall-off. This means the intensity decreases the further away you get from the light source. Now we also have emissive lights, HDRIs, and volumetric lights. The emissive lights can be set up with an emission material and should be used when the shape of your light source doesn't match any of the lamp lights we covered earlier. Then there are HDRIs, high dynamic range images. These images contain much more information about darker and brighter areas compared to normal images and provide real environment lighting. If your scene allows for it, do it. It's the most natural light you can achieve. And lastly, the volumetric light. It's a different way to add light to your scene. Light shines through a medium like fog, dust or water. God rays and depth of fog are the most common ones. Now you know all the ways to add light to your scene. If I missed something, let me know. And after we've clarified these aspects, let's proceed to set up the lighting for some example scenes. I will cover multiple setups because the approach varies depending on the scene. The first one is a classic interior scene, starting by checking your notes and determining the time. Is it day or night, morning or evening, and the environment. Large city, small village, or completely isolated. Use an HDRI that matches the desired environment lighting, even if you only need indirect lighting for a window. Place your sunlight according to the HDRI's sunlight. And configure artificial lights with the correct intensity and color. Accurate references can be invaluable. If there are light sources that don't align with typical light fixtures, create emissive materials for them. For scenes requiring volumetric lights, set it up using a volumetric scatter node or principled volume. The second one is a city shot, in the evening or night. You can opt to not use an HDRI. I did it anyway. It's purely a matter of taste. Just light street lamps, store windows and posters with the appropriate emissions. Add an emission node to the volume output to create city haze. And consider to combine emissive materials with classic lamp lights to suit the look. And last but not least, a sci-fi space scene. They are among the simplest scene to light. Utilize an HDRI of the Milky Way, for example, set up the sunlight, and you are done. Scenes like this thrive on contrast. You probably noticed the final renders also contains a lot of other techniques to look better and realistic. Depth of field, motion blur, and lens flare are just some of them. But since these techniques don't have anything to do with lighting directly, I won't go into them now. That's a part for another video. There are countless more examples to explore, but you should grasp the essentials. There's no single rule for the perfect lighting setup. It varies based on the message you want to convey. However, some principles typically work well. Position the light not too steep from above and to the side to create shadows and dimension, avoiding a flat and uninteresting appearance. Finding the right balance may require some trial and error. There's no shame in trying and failing. Just persist and you will steadily improve. In German we say, es ist noch kein Meister vom Himmel gefallen. So, discipline and passion beats talent. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.